Well, thank you very much. I'm super happy to be here today. First, because I think that around this scene, we all share the same passion, a passion for innovation, a passion for energy transition, and a passion for energy overall. That's already a good starting point. Now, I would like for this keynote to start with what Patty was saying. He was mentioning competitiveness. If we look back, a few years back, we were all talking about sustainability. Now it's all about competitiveness. Should we oppose one to another, or should we go hand in hand? Our vision is that we have to show that energy transition is good for competitiveness, and that's what I will demonstrate in a few minutes. That's super important, because we have to show that energy transition is job creation, is good for the economy, is good for our companies, startups, and big companies overall. So let's start with that. If we think about our ambition in Europe, we have taken big figures, big commitments. One of the commitments was to say we want to decrease our carbon emission by 55% in 2030. What an objective. Super enriching, super fulfilling. We want to go in that direction. Another objective was around renewable energy, 42.5%, 45% by 2030. Again, a big objective. So all that is positive. And at the same time, if you remember, in the COP in Paris, we all committed to the 1.5 degree scenarios. That's our commitment. 1.5 degree scenarios, big objective in carbon emission reduction, big objective in renewable energy. All together here, we want to show that these commitments are super good, but it's even better if it turns into reality. That's what we need, turning that into reality. And the situation as of today is that we are not on the 1.5 degree scenarios. We are much more on the 2 or 2.5 degree scenario. Even last weekend, here in Italy, we had flood that we have never seen before. We see more and more crises on climate change. It's accelerating at a path that never we anticipated. Second example, all the headlines are around renewable energy in Europe. It was a peak year. It was the best ever year in terms of installation of renewable energy in Europe. This is super positive. 70 gigawatts of installed capacity. This is super positive. But back to reality, is it enough? When we look at wind, installed capacity for last year was only 17 gigawatts, and we need 30 gigawatts. Again, my message is that, yes, we have commitments, and we need those commitments. Yes, we are accelerating. We see the trend in a very positive momentum, but still it's not enough. And another example, because here we have many distribution grid companies. Again, in the past decade, in Europe, we have been invested 33 billion for grid distribution, innovation, strengthening, development. 33 billion. Is it enough? We would need 60 billion per year, not 33. My point is that we have everything to succeed, but we need to pick our battles, and we need that to happen. We need to fulfill our commitments. So the question is, what are our priorities? How to make that happen? And a month ago, there was a new report that was published, Draghi's report, and he's helping us to drive this acceleration. How to make that happen? What's our priorities on that front? And Draghi is saying only three things that collectively we have to achieve. And the first thing is about skills. You were talking about skills a bit before. And skills is the first element. Energy transition will happen because we have people delivering all those projects, committed to it. We need skills on renewable energy. We need skills on energy efficiency. We need skills in digitization. And one or two numbers. 1 million solar workers will be required in Europe by 2030. 1 million solar workers. We will need to reskill 18 million people by 2030 in Europe. So it's a big challenge. It's a collective challenge. Of course, we need to work with academy. Of course, we need to work with big universities. We need to work in schools to prepare the ground. but we need to work also in all our companies to attract those talents, to show that it's a career path and there will be plenty of opportunities. We need to secure this future. So the first element for our acceleration path is skills. The second element that Dragis is mentioning, and I truly believe into that, is innovation, technologies. This is critical. This is what you will see in all the booths. We're talking about innovation and technologies. And if you look in details, R&D intensity in Europe is only 2.2% of our GDP. In the US, in China, in South Korea, it's much more than what we are doing. So yes, we are putting energy, we are putting resources into our technologies, but not at the right speed. Again, we need to accelerate. Does it have to come from only public money? No, it's all of us. It's startups. We need startups ecosystem. We need big companies like Schneider Electric investing into those startups or our own R&D. We need all the utilities companies inventing the grid of the future. So it's a collective effort, but we need that to happen. More technology, more innovation. And that's why in Schneider Electric we have created one dedicated entity that is called Schneider Electric Ventures to accompany those small companies to emerge and to develop the right speed of development around those new technologies. And I can give you many examples, but that's really critical. Now, when we say that, we say innovation and technology is critical. But in which domain? The first domain that is simple, but we're not talking enough about it, is electrification. If you just look at Europe, 25% only of the industry in Europe is electrified. Only 25%. We know that there is a potential for more than 50% of the industry to be electrified. So we need to accelerate electrification on one stance. How to do that? Then more renewable energy. I was showcasing we are not yet at the right path, so we need more renewable energy. Of course, we need also more energy efficiency. We need to curb the demand. But what's the difference between all the previous year is that now the spotlight is on the grid. If we electrify, if we decarbonize, then the grid is even more important. We need the grid to be resilient. We need the grid to be efficient. We need the grid to be reliable. We need the grid to be able to cope with all the variability of the renewable energy. Hence, we need a grid that is fully digitized. That's the future. That's why there is so much emphasis today, because we need to look end to end. End to end meaning including the grid. That's what I really wanted to emphasize, because when I discussed with many customers, few years back, we were all talking about big assets, big gas plants, big renewable energies. And more, this trend is evolving into much more distributed renewable energy. I want to produce my energy. I want to consume my energy. I want to have storage embedded. I want to have the software that is managing everything on my hand. More and more, this is the mega trend. So it's not only digitized, but it's also distributed energy. So again, the second pillar of acceleration is innovation and technology. And what the third pillar of our collective acceleration on the energy transition? Well, the third pillar is just turning ambition into action. It's good to have those big numbers. It's even better to realize those numbers, turning that into reality. And then we need to have the difficult conversation all together. We need to face what's not working. We need to make sure that we cope with that. We find a solution. For example, why renewable energy is so slow? We have seen acceleration, but we need more. How to do that? We need more easier permitting situation, allowing easier renewable development. We need grid connection in a more facilitated way. We have so many renewable energy that are not connected yet. We have long queue on connection. So yes, we need acceleration, we need simplification, we need to remove some administrative barriers. In the US, they are not complaining. This is much easier. That's what we need in Europe. We don't need necessarily plenty of additional funds, because money is available for the energy transition. It's just about picking our priorities and making sure that for those priorities, we collectively simplify the way we do it. So that's the third pillar. Third pillar is turning ambition into action. And I completely believe that with those three elements, skills and reskillings on one side, innovation and technology on the other side by picking the right battles, and lastly, turning ambition into action, we have a collective success in front of us. And again, how to measure success? We are not NGOs around the table. We are companies. We are change makers. So it means that how to measure success is to say that sustainability will happen, energy transition will be accelerated, and it will be positive for our economy. Why I'm saying that? Because still today in Europe, energy prices is 3 to 5 times more expensive than in the US. It's at the detriment of some of our industries. And how to bridge the gap? It's through this energy transition, by developing our own energy, by investing into the grid, by making it more efficient, and by doing that, by reducing this difference of cost of energy, we will gain 1 point of GDP in Europe. So my message is that we should not oppose energy transition and competitiveness. On the contrary, this energy transition will bring more to our economy, will create jobs, and we need to accompany that, and will be a way to have stronger companies, startups, and big companies all together. So the message is we need this collective challenge all together. We know how to succeed. It's just a matter of implementation and making sure that we don't disconnect the two between competitiveness and sustainability and energy transition, but showcase that it goes hand in hand and one is reinforcing each other. I hope that you're convinced, and now it's the fight for that, and you will see in all the booths everything that I was mentioning about innovation, about technology, about the skills that are required. So please take some time, because that's the benefit of Enlit, to bring all us together to find the right solution. Thank you very much.